Welcome back to the Britannia Coin Company. We're a coin dealer based in Royal Wootton Bassett in the UK. We're about to enter the Jubilee Bank holiday weekend, where there's a public holiday, and across the nation we're going to be celebrating the 70th anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. Once the Queen became our monarch, her likeness started to be minted on coins, but not just in the UK, where she was head of state in other countries, she was on their coins as well. Given that she is the UK's longest reigning monarch and one of the longest reigning monarchs in history, her portrait has changed over time, so I thought we'd take a look at her portrait over her 3/4 of a century reign. We start at the beginning naturally. The first year we see the Queen on our coinage is 1953, although she had been Queen since 1952, the day her father King George VI died, but with a suitable period of mourning and then the coronation, now is the time for her likeness to be struck on coinage. Out of a field of 17, the portraits of Mary Gillock are chosen to represent the new Queen on coins. With supervision from Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh and husband of the Queen, her portrait was worked on and refined until we get the end result we see here. Mary Gillock herself was born in 1881, attending art school and eventually becoming a sculptor, and becoming an OBE in 1953. One would assume that her role in designing the first portrait of the Queen may have influenced that decision. Her portrait would feature on all the circulating coinage from the farthing to the half crown. I have here this box, which is a specimen coin set, which is effectively a proof set of the time to showcase the new coinage. This portrait would continue to be used on coins up to 1970 as the UK moved into a decimal system. This change wasn't instantaneous, and with the new decimal coins beginning production in 1968, ready for the switch in 1971. To demonstrate this new coinage, I have a set of coins that most collectors will be familiar with. This set contains the halfpenny or halfpenny up to the new 10p coin, as these were the UK's first decimal coins. If we look at the obverses, we can see the new portrait. Having been on the throne for over a decade and a half, we see the Queen crowned with the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait was the creation of Arnold Machin, an artist and sculptor whom the Queen is very fond of the work of, given that the designs he created for her on postage stamps celebrated their 50th anniversary in use back in 2017, and although the Queen had been approached with alternatives, by this point she hadn't approved any new designs. Before those stamps though came these coins. Machin himself was born in 1911 and began his career as an apprentice china painter at the age of 14 and went on to learn to sculpt and studied in art school. His designs on coins would continue to see use until 1985 with another change in her portrait. In this annual coin set of 1985 we can see a more complete set of decimal coinage with the inclusion of the 20p, 50p and £1 coin, and the loss of the halfpenny, which was last circulated in 1983. Now the designer behind this new portrait was Raphael Maclouf, another notable British sculptor. Now portrayed wearing the George IV state diadem and a pearl necklace, he beat out a field of 17 artists to have his designs minted on coins. Although at the time he was accused of a bit of creativity in the youthful look of the Queen, who had reigned for 33 years by now, he defended his work, stating that his intention was to create a symbol, regal and ageless. Maclouf himself was born in 1937 in Jerusalem, and his family emigrated to the UK after the Second World War. He attended art school where he honed his skills, which would see him become a successful sculptor, and as we have seen, have his work produced on countless coins to be used and seen by many in their day-to-day lives. By 1998 it was decided for another change in the portrait. In this 1998 annual coin set you can see another new addition, the bimetallic £2 coin. The 10p, 20p and 50p are also noticeably smaller in this set, having been previously resized. On the obverse we can see the fourth portrait of the Queen by Ian Rank Broadley. Again, another British sculptor. There must be something about a sculptor that lends itself to creating world-class portraits for coinage. Interestingly, there hadn't been a plan to change the portrait until in 1997 designs for the obverse of the golden wedding crown came in, and they were impressive enough to warrant a look into a change in the existing portrait. He again had to beat out competition to have his designs selected to be the new portrayal of the Queen. We see a return of the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara on this design. Ian Rank Broadley himself was born in 1952, the same year the Queen ascended to the throne, and as per the previous designers, he attended art schools. His design was more realistic than the previous portrayal, reflecting the now 70-year-old monarch, dismissing the topic when questioned by stating, "No need to disguise the matureness of the Queen's years, there's no need to flatter her, she's a 70-year-old woman with poise and bearing." The design was created to be as large as possible, middle within the canvas of the coin so as to be prominent even on smaller coins such as the 5p and penny. We almost finish our tour of the Queen's portrait in 2015 when Ian Rank Broadley's design was retired to be replaced by the work of Jodie Clark. Now this isn't as straightforward as previously. The designs you can see here from the 2015 Executive Proust set still bear the Ian Rank Broadley portrait, but for coins released into circulation, we do start to see Jodie Clark's new portrait. Jodie Clark was born in 1981, being only 33 at the time that his designs were chosen to become the latest and current portrait of the Queen on coins. The youngest of the previous 4 designers, he himself is a sculptor. No wait, an engraver. Finally, the rule of sculptors designing the Queen's portrait has ended. He was also the first Royal Mint employee in over 100 years to have their design for the monarch's portrait to be chosen to adorn the definitive coinage. Now I said that we were almost done. We've looked at the 5 portraits of the Queen on coins, but I've got one more intriguing coin to show you before we take a wider tour of the Queen on coins. And here it is, the 2016 sovereign, an historic coin and one of the world's most famous coins, popular with precious metal investors and coin collectors the world over. But what is interesting about this coin is what's on the obverse. You can see it is a design we haven't seen before. It's the work of James Butler, which was released to mark the 90th birthday of Queen Elizabeth II. It wasn't just the sovereign this featured on though, with her portrait on coins commemorating her being the longest reigning UK monarch also featuring this portrait. Oh and yes, he is a renowned British sculptor. You just can't keep the sculptors away from this job, can you? He was born in 1931 and studied in art school with sculptures commissioned across the world. Again, it would appear a successful sculptor really has the knack for fantastic portraits too. Well, that's the portraits of the Queen on UK coins, but she's also head of state in a lot of other countries past and present, so come with me on a world tour of the Queen on coins. We embark across the English Channel, but before we hit continental Europe, let's do a bit of island hopping. We stop first in Guernsey with this lovely little crab on a penny from 1989. On the obverse we can recognise the Queen's 3rd portrait by Raphael Maclouf. On the next island of Jersey I have a couple of coins for you, a 1945 1/12 of a shilling which features a new portrait we haven't seen before, this one by Cecil Thomas. We also have a 1994 penny featuring Lohock Tower and Arnold Machin's 2nd portrait of the Queen. Done with the Channel Islands, we head across Europe to Cyprus with a 1955 100 mils, again featuring a portrait by Cecil Thomas, and then the 1956 5 mils of the same portrait as our previous coin. The Queen would feature on coins of Cyprus between 1955 and 1957 until it gained independence and became a republic. We head back west now. Before we leave Europe though, we will stop off at another British territory, Gibraltar. This penny features a Barbary partridge, and on the obverse again it's the Queen's 3rd portrait by Raphael Maclouf. Gibraltar gives us an easy link across the Mediterranean to Africa, where we head south to Nigeria with a 1962 1 shilling, where again we see the portrait by Cecil Thomas. Nigeria would become a republic in 1960 and went on to abolish the monarchy in 1963. We're going to move further south now to Rhodesia, which became Zimbabwe. We see here a 1964 2 shilling or 20-cent coin featuring the Zimbabwe bird and the Queen's 2nd portrait by Arnold Machin. Queen Elizabeth II became Queen of Rhodesia under the 1965 Constitution, which wasn't internationally recognised and also not recognised by the Queen herself. And in 1970 Rhodesia became a republic. A little bit further south we find ourselves in South Africa with a penny from 1959, and if we look to the obverse we find the Queen's portrait by Mary Gillick. In 1961 though, the country became a republic, having shared a monarchy with the UK and other dominions and abolished their monarchy. We head east now into the western Indian Ocean where we find the Seychelles and a 1972 5 rupees coin, with a beautiful landscape adorning this coin's reverse and the Arnold Machin 2nd portrait on the obverse. The Queen would remain monarch and head of state until 1976 when the Seychelles became an independent republic. If we carry on eastwards we find ourselves in Asia, more specifically Hong Kong, with 3 coins to look at: 1970's 50 cents, which you can see Cecil Thomas's portrait of the Queen, a 1980 50-cent coin with Arnold Machin's 2nd portrait, and finally 1985's 10 cent with Raphael Maclouf's 3rd portrait of the Queen. The Queen featured on coins from Hong Kong whilst it remained a crown colony, before being relinquished to the People's Republic of China in 1997. If we carry on eastwards into the South China Sea, we find what was previously Malaya and British Borneo. The two coins here are a 5 and 10 cents from 1961, both again bearing Cecil Thomas's portrait of the Queen. In 1965, Malaysia and Singapore became independent, and Malaya and British Borneo was no more. Back to sea, and we find ourselves now in Australia with two coins to see. Firstly, a 1966 2 cents featuring a frill-necked lizard, and Arnold Machin's second portrait of the Queen, and then a 2009 silver $1 featuring a splendid koala bear and the Ian Rank Broadley fourth portrait of the Queen. The Queen remains head of state of Australia and therefore continues to be minted on coinage produced there. Across the Tasman Sea we land in New Zealand, and I have a 1964 sixpence with a now extinct wattle bird on the reverse, and on the obverse Mary Gillick's first portrait of the Queen. Our second coin is a 1967 1 cent with a silver fern and also Arnold Machin's portrait of the Queen. Much like Australia, the Queen still features on their coins as well. We head out further into the South Pacific Ocean and take a visit to Fiji with a 1969 2 cent coin with a palm fan and also Arnold Machin's second portrait to the obverse. The other coin is a 1992 50 cent coin with a native sailing canoe above the denomination, and to the other side of the coin Raphael Makhlouf's portrait of the Queen. British rule of Fiji came to an end in 1970 and by 1987 became a republic, but the Queen would still feature on the currency until 2012, being replaced after then by native fauna and flora. Across a vast ocean we stop off next in Canada. We have three 1 cent coins, firstly from 1962 with Mary Gillick's portrait, on to 1977 where we change to Arnold Machin's, and then in 1998 we see not Raphael Makhlouf, but instead Dora de Perdery Hunt, a Hungarian-Canadian sculptor, yes I know, another sculptor. Our final Canadian coin is a silver 1 ounce $5 Canadian maple coin with a stunning portrait by Susanna Blunt. Canada once again still mints coins with the Queen on the obverse, being that she is their head of state. We head south from North America and into the idyllic Caribbean, where we stop off in Bermuda first. Here we have three coins from 3 decades. Firstly, a 1971 1 cent with a fantastic wild boar on the reverse and Arnold Machin's portrait to the obverse. The 1988 $1 features a sailboat at sea, but also Raphael Makhlouf's third portrait. The final coin from 1999 has a Bermuda lily, and to the obverse Ian Rank Broadley's fourth portrait of the Queen. Bermuda has remained Britain's oldest British overseas territory. Even after a recent referendum, the Queen remains head of state and on their currency. Still within the Caribbean, we explore the East Caribbean states, firstly with a 1955 25 cents with Cecil Thomas's design on the obverse, and a 1991 $1, which is a fantastic shaped coin and has Arnold Machin's portrait to the obverse. Finally, a 2002 2 cents coin with Ian Rank Broadley's design on the obverse. The East Caribbean states is a collection of nations, the majority of which have the Queen as head of state, and thus she appears on their coinage. We move on now down South America, and just off to the coast to the east we find ourselves on the Falkland Islands. Here is a penny with a very cute penguin couple. This coin is from 1983, and again if we flip the coin over we reveal Arnold Machin's portrait of the Queen. We have travelled quite the distance now, but we have one more stop before we return to the UK mainland. Across the Atlantic we will go to the Isle of Man. Between Ireland and Great Britain I have a couple of two 2 pence pieces. One from 1987 with a powerful peregrine falcon, and the second from 1988 with hand-working tools pictured in a cross. Both of these coins feature Raphael Makhlouf's portrait of the Queen. Well, that is quite the adventure that we have had around the world in under 80 coins. It's fantastic to see all the countries that previously and currently issue coins with the Queen's portrait on it. So let me know in the comments which is firstly your favourite portrait of the Queen, and secondly which country issues coins with the Queen on it that's your favourite as well. We've barely even scratched the surface as well, and I'm sure we can return to the Queen on foreign coins in the future. Now, as ever, there are links down in the descriptions to our product offerings if you'd like to take a look at some coins yourself or make a purchase. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It's free to do, it means you won't miss any of our future uploads. We're also on Facebook and Instagram where we post lots of images of our products. We're on Twitter and TikTok. We've got our shop and online store. We hope you have a fantastic bank holiday weekend with some great plans and celebrations, and I'll see you next time for more amazing coins from the Britannia Coin Company.